Why? Ow! My God. Ah! Hello, my fellow Battlefrontians. Anyways, I think I know every single hero that's gonna be out when the game releases. And I'll explain why. I'm sure everyone's heard about how Battlefront 2 is gonna have 3 times the content as the original game.
Previous title, with more than 3 times the content of the first game.
And how many heroes did the original game have? Okay, so what is 6 times 3? But the thumbnail and the title said 20. How does that make sense? Well, Captain Phasma and Finn are confirmed to be from the first DLC, so they don't really count for at launch, so it goes down to 18, which is perfect. I'm gonna start off with the ones that we got to play in the alpha, maybe if you got to play it. I did. The 4 guys that we got to see at least, and play, which were Darth Maul, Rey, Han Solo, and Boba Fett. I'm sure everyone knew that. So, Darth Maul uses his expert lightsaber skills and aggressive force powers to quickly assault and overrun the enemy one at a time. So, Darth Maul's lightsaber, he crafted his double-bladed lightsaber to exact vengeance upon the Jedi. His first move, spin attack, second move, furious throw, third attack, chokehold. Next up, we have Rey. Rey's survivor instincts gives her an expanded awareness of the battlefield, which she uses to ambush her enemies and confuse them with her mind tricks. Her saber skills allow her to finish them off up close. Rey's lightsaber was originally constructed by Anakin Skywalker. Rey found this lightsaber in Maz Kanata's castle. She has Insight, Dash Strike, and Mind Trick. Now on to Boba Fett. Boba Fett hunts his enemies by ambushing them with blinding concussion missiles and barrages of damaging wrist rockets. Oh. Watch those wrist rockets, am I right, boy? All the while staying constantly on the move with his jetpack. Boba Fett's EE-3, produced by Blast Tech Industries and capable of firing a 3-round at the cost of accuracy. And the last of the 4 is Han Solo. Han is a sharpshooter who quickly dispatches his enemies with the high power of his DL-44 blaster. He's not afraid to charge into battle and finish the job with explosives if the going gets tough. Han Solo's DL-44, produced by Blast Tech Industries again, the DL-44 delivers high damage at the cost of overheating quickly, which is pretty similar to the last game. He has shoulder charge, sharpshooter, and detonate charge. Now moving on to the ones that we haven't seen yet. Well, except for maybe one, you'll get what I'm saying later. Yoda is an expert at turning defense into attack, using the Force to repel blaster fire, heal his wounds, and protect him from harm while using his lightsaber to inflict damage. Yoda's lightsaber, Shoto-style lightsaber using a kyber crystals from the icy caverns of Ilum. Force Absorb, Yoda channels the Force absorbing blaster fire before channeling into a wave of force power that can damage and knock over enemies. That attack sounds awfully like something that we've seen in a movie before.
Help.
Force Dash, Yoda leaps forward, dealing damage to enemies he hits on the way. He can perform the move 3 times in quick succession. This sounds pretty similar to what Darth Maul can do, so I hope they change it so they're not like pretty much identical with their moves, but it sounds pretty cool too. His next ability is Unnamed, and it is where Yoda becomes one with the Force, instantly removing any negative effects on him and healing him of his wounds. Next up, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we don't actually have any information about him and what he would do in the game, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the game because of his starfighter that was seen in the concept art of Kamino that you're seeing on your screen right now. And if you're going to have a ship, you should at least have a pilot in the game. Also, he's been in almost every single Star Wars movie. Don't know why you wouldn't put him in there. for 3 movies, he's been like the second main character pretty much every single time. And I do see the problem with adding Anakin, although I do think they should add him, but I don't think he'll be in the game at the launch, which is pretty sad, but I'm pretty much like 99% sure he'll get added like later on, because I've yet to see anyone that has said Anakin shouldn't be in Battlefront 2, so I pretty much know he's gonna be in it at some point. But onto ObiWan again, sorry about that. Again, there's no reason not to add him. It's not like it would conflict with anything else, so yeah, there's that. Now this one is the one that I think is most likely to be fake or not be in the game, because of this picture that you're seeing on your screen right now that shows Count Dooku as a playable hero in Battlefront 2. And there are some things that make this look real, some things that make it look fake. One thing that makes it look fake is there's 2 pointers on the screen, which is, I guess it could make sense if it's like a screenshot that they pulled up on the computer and took a picture of the screen, because I edited it a little bit to like squish it down to make it look, well, the original one was stretched out and you could tell it was taken from, it was a screen that was it was a picture of a screen pretty much. So that's it, that could be why, but also his lightsaber is not very detailed compared to other things. One thing that makes it look real is, look at it, it looks real. Also, what I think this could be is a beta to the beta. Pretty much what the beta is going to be for everyone, but an early version of that, because it says pre-alpha build in the top right. They didn't really bother to change it because that was how it was at EA Play, so that's about when this picture was taken. So what I think is going to happen is when the beta comes out, there will be different heroes you can play as, like Jango Fett and Count Dooku, it says right there. Jango Fett's coming up, you'll see. And I think because they never said anything about the same heroes being there when they talked about the beta, I think this is very possible to be what we get to play in the beta. His abilities are Recovery, Force Barrier, and Force Lightning. Next is Jango Fett, and now we've already seen his ship twice on the concept art, and like I said before, just because it's a ship doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna be in it, but it's pretty likely. Also, his head was found. That sounds weird. His head was found, and it was basically the clone officer, which makes sense. It was labeled as Jango Fett, so that pretty much confirms it. Now this one is the one that I'm most excited for, and I think a lot of people can agree, which is General Grievous. Now we actually don't know any of his abilities, we just know he's in the game. That's pretty much all I have to say. Next up, not very surprising, but we saw him on all the trailers, which is Luke Skywalker. So Luke uses his saber skills and the Force to be on the front lines of battle. His high maneuverability enables him to rush his enemies and avoid damage. Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, based on schematics found in Obi-Wan Kenobi's hut on Tatooine, this lightsaber only uses 1 kyber crystal. Force Rush, Luke uses the Force to enhance his speed and quickly move in any direction. Force Repulse, Luke sends a burst of Force energy out of the ground, dealing damage to any enemies nearby. Force Push, Luke uses his Force to push enemies in front of him, knocking them over ledges or into danger. Next is Leia. She serves as an anchor for the team, deploying her enhanced squad shield to provide cover, incapacitating the enemy with concussion grenades, and blank. We don't have any information on what it ends with, so that's kind of how it ends. So Leia's Defender pistol, the Defender Sporting Blaster pistol, was made by the Durian Defense. I'm not even gonna say it, it's on the screen. This low-powered weapon is easy to use and was popular in honor duels among nobility. Now this is not what she had in the last game or the current game, whatever you want to call it. This is the one that she uses in A New Hope, which leads me to believe that she'll look like what she looks like in A New Hope, not the Hoth thing. An unnamed ability, Leia swaps her blaster for her personal enhanced E11 assault, so it's coming back, sort of, allowing her to blast her enemies with a stream of laser fire. Squad Shield. Leia deploys a squad shield at her location. The shield protects her and those inside from blaster fire. Concussion Grenade. Leia throws a concussion grenade which detonates on impact, blinding and confusing enemies in the blast area. Chewbacca is almost the same as he was in the last game, Battlefront 1, but I'll read it anyways. Chewbacca uses his bowcaster to fire charge shots at his enemies and his physical strength to pummel and smash close targets. He is hardly enough to withstand even the most powerful attacks. Chewbacca's bowcaster. A bowcaster was a type of traditional and handcrafted projectile weapons commonly used by Wookiees. On the contrary to regular bowcaster, Chewbacca's doesn't fire engied metal quarries but pure energy. Multi-shock. Chewbacca throws a grenade which can be broken into a cluster of smaller missiles which electrocute enemies they hit. Heavy slam. Chewbacca leaps and smashes his fist onto the floor, dealing damage to enemies around him and knocking them off their feet. Wookiee Berserker. Chewbacca roars and overcharges his bowcaster, enabling him to fire fully charged shots with no charge time. The last rebel we know about is Lando Calrissian. Lando uses cunning and gadgets to confuse and then ambush his opponents with his heat vision enabled X8 Night Sniper pistol, so it's pretty much the same as the last game. You won't see Lando if he sees you first. Lando Calrissian's X8 Night Sniper. The X8 Night Sniper was a model of blaster pistol manufactured by the Blast Tech Industries that featured a computerized scope and silent mode operation. His first ability, Smoke Grenade. Lando throws a smoke grenade which obscures the view of his enemies. He can see them using his night vision capability. Now this I actually like a lot because now the heat vision or night vision, whatever you want to call it, actually has a use, because in the current game or last game, I really don't know what to call it. There really wasn't a use for it. I barely ever used the heat vision or the night vision, whatever. I never used it, so I'm glad that there's a use for it now. His second ability, Sharp Shot. Lando takes a moment to focus on up to 5 enemies before delivering a flurry of headshots against each one. Disabler. Lando throws out a sticky rebel device which disrupts the radars and communications of enemies around it, as well as revealing them through the environment. He can detonate the Disabler at any time to shock enemies around it. An obvious one, Darth Vader, is very similar to the one in Battlefront 1, but I'll read it anyways again. Vader's high survivability and powerful force powers enable him to stand on the front lines and slowly advance on his enemies. Darth Vader's lightsaber. Dual-phase lightsaber, made after Darth Vader joined the dark side of the Force. Saber throw. Vader throws his lightsaber, cutting through and dealing damage to any enemies in the way. Force choke. Vader chokes a cluster of enemies ahead of him, dragging them off the ground and through the air to drop them into danger. So far he sounds pretty similar to Darth Maul, except slower and more powerful. Focus range. Vader focuses his energies, allowing him to both deal and receive more damage. Another obvious one, Emperor Palpatine. The Emperor eliminates whole groups of enemies at a time using his powerful manipulation of the Force to slow, stun, and buffet them with the Force lightning. The Emperor's lightning. Force power firing electricity from the fingertips of the user. So it's like the last game, no lightsaber for him, at least not yet. Electrocute. The Emperor electrocutes enemies in front of him, immobilizing them. Dark Aura. The Emperor charges the air around him with the Force energy, damaging those around him and slowing their movement. Chain Lightning. The Emperor unleashes a burst of lightning which hits a target and spreads to those around them. Exactly like it is in the current game. Talking about the ability, of course, not the actual hero. Next up is a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one, Iden Versio, who we know nothing about yet. The last Empire hero that I'm surprised to see returning is ya boy Bisk. Bosk is a hunter able to go on the offensive to root out his prey with choking dioxis gas or keep his distance and snipe from afar and protection his position with mines. Bosk's Relby V10. The Relby V10 micro grenade launcher was a highly destructive blaster/mortar weapon modified from the Blast Tech Industries CSPL-12 projectile launcher. It was commonly referred to as simply as the mortar gun. Predator instincts. Bosk loads in a high round of damage microgrenades that uses his Trandoshan insights, gaining heat vision and enhancing his physical strength. Dioxis grenade. A thrown grenade which releases a potent cloud of dioxis gas that will damage enemies who stand within. Proximity mines. Bosk throws out 3 sticky mines that detonate on proximity trigger, healing high damage. Not very excited to hear that he can heal, but I guess it's fine because they all can heal. Next is Finn, who we know nothing about except for the fact that he's 99% probably going to be voiced by John Boyega himself, because you've probably seen him before. He's really excited for this game. Kylo is a master of controlling his enemies with the Force, freezing them or pulling them to him so that he can finish them off with his aggressive lightsaber attacks. Kylo Ren's lightsaber. Crossguard lightsaber based on an ancient design from the Gret Skorg of Malachor. The lateral vents divert the extra power from the powerful weapon. Force pull. Kylo uses the Force to pull enemies ahead, off their feet, and towards him. Force freeze. Kylo freezes all enemies in front of him, immobilizing them for duration. Saber charge. Kylo charges forward and performs a spinning 360-degree saber attack when the ability button is pressed again. Last but certainly not least is Captain Phasma, who's also coming with Finn in the first season of DLC. Phasma's F-11D. The F-11D blaster rifle was a blaster rifle manufactured by the San Blast Corporation. This ranged weapon was the successor of the Order E-11 blaster rifle used by the Galactic Empire. And that's all. That is all for this video. I made a new outro. Let me know what you think about it down in the description below. Wait.